When I first walk into a space where I'm designing a piece to go into, the beginning of the process is conversational, noticing elements of the space that stand out, a sculpture, a piece of art. My clients' responses to my comments reveal the story, sometimes deep, sometimes trivial. But those stories start to paint a picture of who the client is, their lived experiences, the values they hold, and the memories wrapped up in their spaces. When I walked into this client's home, two things immediately stood out to me. One was this blue-green glass tile that was interspersed through a white herringbone backsplash. My mind started moving towards a table design that was geometric and almost architectural in its design, rather than a traditional table. Another detail that really defined the direction I would ultimately take in the design of this table was a piece of artwork that my client had bought in a cafe in Bali on a trip there with her daughter. The image was striking because in this whole field of white, here was this bold splash of color that lit up the whole wall. That's when I started leaning towards doing something completely different with the color of the table. Ordinarily, I don't like staining wood. Every piece of wood has a unique character, and staining it feels like taking something beautiful and changing it into something that it is not. But on a rare occasion, the right wood can be transformed with the right stain. We chose curly maple for this table because of its unique grain character, which looks like ripples in sand. I mixed a deep blue-green dye for the legs and used a weathering agent, a chemical that reacts with the wood to create a natural gray tone, like an old fence that is weathered over time, for the rest of the table. The vision was coming together, sand and sky, both in the piece and ultimately in the way it would be photographed. Like the shape of sand changes with the wind, one detail I wanted to carry into the design of this table was the nature of change, not just with the wood grain, but also in the geometry of the table. But the accent panels on the legs shift and change as you move around the table. The build of this table really boils down to clean, meticulous craftsmanship. I carefully selected the material to find the most figured pieces of curly maple, especially for the dyed parts of the legs. Using traditional joinery techniques ensured that the table will last for generations. My first idea for shooting this piece was to take it to the Great Sand Dunes in southern Colorado. But as I started to research the logistics, the idea became increasingly less practical due to permitting and restrictions in the national park. I wasn't sure how I was going to follow through with the idea until a friend suggested the Killpecker Dunes near Rock Springs, Wyoming. As I neared completion on the table, I started watching Wyoming weather. I found a 3-day window of time that looked like it could work and made the plan. My wife and kids, plus my friend and his family, became the production and logistics crew. Hauling the table up the dune in a small trailer pulled behind a quad. We wanted to get some drone shots at sunrise, and since the location was so remote, we carried the table to the top of the dune and called it a night. The next morning, we were up before sunrise on a bitterly cold morning, fighting wind and freezing fingers, but captured some incredible aerial footage. This project was a benchmark piece for me. It set a new standard in how I approach design, the thoughtful attention to every detail, and it renewed my commitment to building with uncompromising craftsmanship.